You guys look amazing. Class of 2017. Give yourselves a hand. Woo! Just had to get that out of my system. First, let me start with a really heartfelt thanks to Dean Zalatova. I got that right, didn't I?
You did.
I did. Did you all know how to pronounce that? No, okay. For having me here. I'm still convinced that this is a mistake, and I'm expecting somebody to yank me off the stage. I thought at first when I got the invitation that some of my friends were pranking me, and they assured me that they weren't. And then I thought maybe Dean was pranking me. She has an interesting sense of humor, but she assured me, Ralph, I'm not pranking you. You're the commencement speaker. So here I am. I also want to thank Dr. Catherine Moran. She has been an unbelievable steadying force throughout this whole ordeal. She's up there, and I really appreciate everything she has done to make this day possible and getting me here. So thank you, Catherine. Quick story before I begin, and it's something I want you to keep in the back of your minds. I believe that the universe is a very connected organism. Einstein called it quantum entanglement. Spooky action at a distance. So imagine that. You come to a commencement and you get a physics lesson. When I began writing my speech, I thought giving it a title would help focus me and channel my thoughts and my energy. So after a lot of consideration, I titled my speech, Change the World. Upon a recommendation from last year's commencement speaker, Ira Cohen, who, by the way, did an unbelievable job, and thanks, Ira, for all the great advice and counsel, I was advised to download a teleprompter app to practice. And in the app, they had some pre-filled information. And it read, because people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do. That immediately became the title, the new title of my speech. So, hang on to that thought, grab your popcorn, let's get started. I'm keenly aware I only have a few moments to excite you, perhaps entertain you, and most importantly, inspire you. To accomplish that tall order, I'm going to call upon the words of George Bernard Shaw, Steve Jobs, Yoda, and that great modern poet and philosopher, the irrepressible nature boy, Ric Flair. Woo-hoo! I am certain these four have never been mentioned together in the same breath or any known conceptual framework, which means I clearly have my work cut out for me. So, you guys ready? All right. I hear some people who are ready. I'm a two-watch wearing, custom suit wearing, victory stealing, wheeling dealing, woo! Tesla riding, jet flying, son of a gun. And the world is going to have a hard time holding this unreasonable man down. Woo! I see a few people a little more awake now. Leaving aside for the moment the argument over the authenticity of professional wrestling, Ric Flair was considered by many to be the greatest professional wrestler of all time. His athletic prowess in the ring made him a Hall of Famer and a world champion many times over. But it was his ability to work the microphone that made him a superstar. He was completely over the top. Bleach blonde hair, flashy jewelry, designer clothing, limos, private jets, the works. He had a flamboyant lifestyle that was all about glory and gold. He had the spectacular ability to look straight into the camera, lean into the microphone, and take testosterone-fueled trash talk to a completely different level. A pro wrestling promo is actually a lot like a commencement speech. I'm sure Dean Zalatova just nearly fell off her chair back there. A great promo builds drama, and true masters of the craft use it to set up the storyline and get people excited to see the match. Or in this case, listen to the rest of this speech. If you thought Ric Flair was over the top, George Bernard Shaw said, quote, "The reasonable person adapts to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to them. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable person." He also said, quote, "People are always blaming circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, they make them," end quote. Steve Jobs said, quote, "When you grow up, you tend to get told the world is the way it is, and your life inside the world, and your life is your life inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family. Have fun. Save a little money. Life can be so much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that people can use. Once you learn that, you will never be the same again." And arguably, the greatest Jedi Master in the universe once said, quote, "Do or do not. There is no try," end quote. Woo! If I didn't know better, that all sounds like some amazing let's get it on trash talk by some of the most influential real and imagined thinkers that have ever lived. However, the thing that makes what you're hearing today truly unique is that I'm asking you to consider it all in concert as part of a mind-altering worldview that will permanently imprint upon you both the power and the requisite responsibility to change the world. Every graduating class faces interesting, extraordinary, and in some cases, unique challenges. That said, what makes this moment in time so exceptional is the deep and intractable divide that seems to be defining our existence, not just in this country, but across the planet. It's the kind of division that makes solving problems less probable and less possible. Luminaries such as Stephen Hawking have recently been sounding alarms, stating that human technology coupled with, quote, "our naturally aggressive instincts," end quote, could threaten the existence of the human race. Hence, the need for people who are not simply willing to bend to how things are or how the world is trending. We need unreasonable people to dig in their heels against what may feel like an inevitable slide into chaos. Reason says that I shouldn't be here. The fact that I am is a testament to the many times over the course of my life when I've refused the allure of reason and prodding to be realistic. I've been come on, son, my whole life. Come on, son, you can't afford Boston University. Come on, son, you're not gonna play Division I basketball. Come on, son, you're not gonna work on Wall Street. Come on, son, you're not gonna be the CIO of a Fortune 500 company. And I'm sure many of you have heard similar sorts of things throughout the course of your life. To truly understand what I mean when I say I don't belong here, you have to appreciate where I come from. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. To this day, when people attempt to tell me what a great place Pittsburgh is, I tell them that it is a world that epitomizes the tale of two cities. And I am not from the desirable part. As you probably guessed, I am the son of completely unreasonable parents who were totally disinterested in my best and would only accept from me the best. The severe penalties for failure helped me to quickly discern the difference between the two concepts. My late father worked for U.S. Steel for over 40 years and spent a significant part of his career shoveling crushed coal into a furnace that he once described to me as the gates of hell. He often did something called doubling out, where he would work for 16-hour stretches, all to support his family, my parents, along with 4 children living in a 900-square-foot home. I grew up bullied, something of an outcast, with an inability to fit in anywhere or with most anyone. Moreover, I've grown up in a world where someone like me is 1,000 times more likely to go to prison than to graduate from a 4-year college. My circumstances would often mockingly declare that I was never going to get out of Pittsburgh or attend a place like Boston University. I was never going to play Division I basketball for a Hall of Fame coach. I was never going to graduate with a degree from Questrom or complete my graduate degree at Met or earn my MBA. I never lamented. Instead, I've done what any unreasonable person would do. I doubled down on my dreams and aspirations. And by your presence here today, I'd say I'm in the company of a group that clearly understands how unreasonable you must be at times to accomplish your goals. Speaking of accomplishing goals, what you all have done is simply outstanding. Your achievement will serve you well in ways that you cannot imagine sitting here today. And while your degrees will prove to be incredibly beneficial, I'm here to tell you that the degree alone is simply not enough. I'm not in any way attempting to diminish the value of your extraordinary accomplishment or the glory of this momentous day. I have 2 degrees from Boston University myself, and I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of the time that I spent here. However, aside from the many courses and countless hours spent studying in the library and in the corners of the student union, what I really learned during those transformative years and in the time since is that winning has less to do with your credentials and experience and everything to do with your ability to figure it out. Understand this, I have never had a job for which I was traditionally qualified. What I mean by that is, I have never, ever had a job that I either had experience doing or that I matched the stated qualifications. The ability to figure things out is especially important now because many of the jobs that some of you will have haven't been invented. And some of the jobs that many of you have spent your college careers preparing for may not soon exist. That is in part due to the fact that people like me and people like you the world over are leveraging technology to do things and create things that were not even possible just a few short years ago. If you have not done so, I strongly encourage you to watch the YouTube video entitled "Humans Need Not Apply." The video is a must-see. It chronicles the impact of technological changes that are rapidly and comprehensively redefining the very concept of work. What I'm suggesting to you is that your career is going to be defined by your creativity, your resiliency, your emotional intelligence, your curiosity, and your ability to reinvent yourself over and over and over again. So, when peers said to me that I couldn't move from retail store management to banking, or from commercial banking to investment banking, or that it was crazy to walk away from my great investment banking job to start my own company, which, by the way, failed. And to this day, I called it the best experience of my life. I did what any unreasonable person would do. I ignored them. And you should have heard all the people who said that I couldn't make a successful transition to sales and marketing, and the chorus of doubters who scoffed at my decision to move into technology. Had I been thinking reasonably, I would never have done any of those things. Woo! All those changes in my life, and the ones coming in yours, represent opportunity. If you are the unreasonable type, the type that is dissatisfied with being defined by boundaries, circumstances, and limits that you did not create, or walls that someone else made up, even if that wall is that degree you just earned, then the world that awaits you is full of opportunities. You all possess the power to live a life that you define on your own terms, limited only by the force of your will and the courage of your convictions. Which brings me back to where we began. My Ric Flair-inspired declaration is my affirmation to myself and my defiant shout out to the world that I am and will always be that unreasonable person. I've made a conscious choice to speak up and speak out, to stand up and act out, even when reason and logic suggest a different, easier, and less painful path. I've chosen not to be a victim of circumstance or even defined by circumstance. I choose them, or better still, I create them. And I encourage you to do the same. So, take one last look around and remember that all of this was made up. by people who are no smarter than you. Every institution, every company, every social construct was imagined by someone just like you. Once you realize that, once you embrace that fact, you unlock your potential to create companies and objects and ideas that will change the world. The only limits are those that you place upon yourself. This then is a call to action, a call to take the road less traveled, a challenge to be better than good, to color outside of the lines, bang into walls, bang up against perceived boundaries, bang into perceived limits, those of others, and most importantly, your own. Whatever you do, please do not simply adapt to the world around you. Think unreasonably. Do the unreasonable. Stand firm in your greatness. Your family needs your unreasonable best. Your communities need your unreasonable force. Your country needs your unreasonable might. The world needs your indomitable, unreasonable will to challenge convention and change our collective course for the better. Force the world to adapt to you. Create for yourself a life of infinite possibilities, and by doing so, change the world. Now, Boston University, class of 2017, give me 2 claps to the Ric Flair. Woo!